When you think of a huge telecommunications company, your mind probably jumps to things like data, cell signals, and all that infrastructure, right? But what if that same company's biggest impact wasn't just about connecting our devices, but about connecting people to real, life-changing opportunities? Well, that's what we're gigging into today. The story of how Telkom is trying to weave social progress right into the fabric of its business.
And this isn't just some corporate slogan coming from the top floor. This quote from the head of the Telkom Foundation, Judy Vilakazi, really gets to the heart of it. It tells you that behind all the big numbers and programs we're about to see, there are people who are genuinely passionate about doing this work.
So that brings us to the real question, doesn't it? It's one thing to have good intentions, but how do you actually take all those corporate resources and turn them into tangible, on-the-ground change? How do you transform the technology of connection into the human act of building a stronger community? Let's find out.
Okay, to really get what they're doing, we first need to look at the big picture. This isn't just a side project or a simple charity thing. For Telkom, this social mission is a core part of their entire environmental, social, and governance strategy, what you often hear called ESG. It's all about creating what they call shared value, which is this idea that what's good for society is also good for business.
And this mission is laser-focused on some of South Africa's most persistent challenges. We're talking about that digital divide, the gap between people with and without access to technology. We're talking about the huge need for more skills in science, tech, engineering, and math. And of course, the ongoing crisis of youth unemployment. This is the why behind everything they do.
So how do they tackle these huge issues? Well, they've basically got two main arms, and this lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the Telkom Foundation. Its job is to build up people through education, digital literacy, and skills. On the other side, you've got Future Makers, which is all about building the economy by backing entrepreneurs and creating jobs. Two pillars, but one single mission.
Let's start with that first pillar, the Telkom Foundation. Now, this isn't some new thing they just cooked up. The foundation has been doing this kind of work since way back in 1998, so it has a long legacy of focusing on the root of so many problems, giving young people the education they need to build a better future.
And they are putting some serious money where their mouth is. An annual investment of 68 million rand. That shows you the scale we're talking about here. This is not pocket change, it's a major strategic investment in the country's youth.
So what does that 68 million actually get you in human terms? Well, get this. In just the last fiscal year, the Foundation's programs reached over 36,000 learners and teachers directly. I mean, think about that. That's like the entire population of a small town being empowered in just 1 year. But here's the crucial part. It's how they do it. It's not just about giving a student a textbook. As you can see here, it's a completely holistic approach. Of course, they've got academic support in those key STEM subjects, but they're also teaching future-proof skills like coding and robotics. They also get that a student's well-being is everything, so they partner with groups like Childline. And they know the secret. To empower students, you absolutely have to empower their teachers first.
Okay, so you've invested in education. What's the next logical step? Well, that brings us to our second pillar. If the foundation is laying the groundwork by building up human potential, then Future Makers is the economic engine designed to turn all that potential into actual prosperity.
And just look at that number for a second. Wow. Over its lifetime, the Future Makers program has helped create or sustain nearly 74,000 jobs. In a country battling high unemployment, a figure like that is nothing short of transformative. It's a direct, powerful answer to one of those national challenges we talked about earlier. The how is really important here too. The program focuses on those small and medium-sized businesses, the real backbone of any economy, and it has a clear mission to support Black-owned businesses. They provide this powerful trifecta of support: the cash to get started, the connectivity to compete in a digital world, and the mentorship to actually grow.
And what I love about this is that it shows their support isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. Nope. They meet entrepreneurs exactly where they are on their journey. So whether you're a brand new idea in the seed stage, needing a boost from something like the Township Innovation Incubator, or you're a more established business needing help with supplier development, the support is tailored to make the biggest possible impact.
All right. The big numbers are impressive, for sure, but the real story is always in the individual lives that are changed. So let's zoom in from that 30,000-foot view and look at some specific stories of transformation. This is where you see the real-world impact.
Let's start with a problem I think we can all wrap our heads around.
You can put a computer in every single classroom, but if the teachers aren't trained to use it effectively, it's really just an expensive paperweight, right? Well, the Teacher Development Program was created to solve that exact problem, getting our educators up to speed for the digital age.
And the result of this focus is frankly mind-blowing. An independent assessment found that for every single rand they invested in this program, it generated 32 rand in social value. Think about that for a second. A 32-to-1 return on investment. It's just an incredible testament to how investing in teachers creates this powerful ripple effect through a whole community.
So how does that even happen? Well, this slide breaks it down. It's a simple but really powerful chain reaction. First, you invest in building up a teacher's skills. That, in turn, empowers that teacher with new confidence and new tools. And what's the result? A higher quality of education for every single student they teach, year after year after year.
And here's a perfect, tangible example of this work in action. This is an ICT lab they installed at the Steve Biko Foundation. And that's such a powerful statement, isn't it? You're honoring the legacy of a liberation hero, not just with a statue, but with a tool for the next generation's liberation, digital empowerment.
And the impact is just so incredibly diverse. I mean, look at these examples. On one hand, you have robotics kits going to a school for the deaf, making sure no one gets left behind. Then you have seed capital for entrepreneurs in townships, sparking innovation at the grassroots level. And then, all the way on the other end, you have a multi-million rand investment in a high-tech startup like Advanatech. It's amazing. Okay, so we've seen these incredible individual stories. Let's pull the camera back out one last time. What does all of this really add up to over the years? What is the cumulative impact, that true ripple effect of such a long-term commitment?
This timeline really shows you a clear legacy of impact. It started over 2 decades ago with the foundation. It got bigger in 2015 with Future Makers. But maybe the most telling part is that last point. They set a goal to impact 250,000 lives by 2025, and they completely smashed that target 2 years early. Their impact isn't just steady, it's actually accelerating. And this chart, wow, this just puts the last decade of the Future Makers program into perspective. We're talking over 2,600 small businesses supported, almost 74,000 jobs created. And when you think about how every one of those jobs supports family members, you get to that massive number, over 250,000 lives directly and positively impacted.
So, at the end of the day, here's the biggest takeaway. What we've seen today is so much more than just corporate charity. It's a deeply woven strategy to create that shared value we talked about. By helping to build a more skilled, more connected, and more entrepreneurial society, Telkom isn't just strengthening South Africa, it's also building its own future market. It's a true win-win cycle.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. For a company that's literally in the business of selling connection, this work suggests a much, much deeper meaning. Maybe the true measure of connection isn't about bandwidth or signal strength after all. Maybe it's about the opportunities we create for each other,